Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Deborah Peters Show. My name is Deborah Peters, and I am broadcasting once again from Tennessee. I've been moving around the country, California last week, Tennessee this week. Who knows where I'll be next week? And I'm happy to share with you a phenomenal guest today. You know, my biggest passion is all about health and performance in your business. So I have a really great guest all the way from the UK today. And before we get into that, I just want to remind you what this show is all about. It's about consciousness. Consciousness is self-awareness. Consciousness is being able to calibrate to you, not to your external world. And rather than let the external world run you, you're able to make your own decisions. You're able to follow your intuition and have a deep and meaningful relationship with your creator. So we cover health, wealth, relationships, business, and self-expression. And I have a weed whacker and a lawnmower outside my window. So if it gets noisy, I'm sorry. I didn't know they were coming today because this is my first night in this space. Also, I wanted to just kind of give you a heads up. I was traveling. I got home about 2 a.m. and feeling a little queasy. So if I disappear during the show, a guest has it. She's got it under control. I'm serious about that. So welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about you. I'm so happy to have you join me.
Yeah, thanks, Deborah. It's great to be here. So I'm Nicola Mercer, and I'm from the UK. I'm in England on the northeast coast, up where we have lots of nice beaches and castles. If you've seen Harry Potter, I'm not too far from where most of Harry Potter was filmed, in the castle here. So quite a distance from you in Tennessee there. And I have my own business called Life Now Coaching, and I focus on health and wellness. So I'm a transformational health coach, helping business leaders to use their health as a way to build and get the success that they're striving for. So I really like that you're about the consciousness, because Life Now is really about learning to be present and be happy in your life now, because so many of us are always looking forward, and thinking about what it is we want to achieve to make us feel happy, and what we think success looks like, and that success is going to equal that happiness. And I really help people to focus on being more present and appreciating what they have now, whilst working towards those goals, knowing that it isn't those goals alone that is going to bring happiness. It's the whole journey and experience that you have working. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I have to go back. You're near Hogwarts?
Well, the castle that was used for Hogwarts, they definitely spruced it up a lot for Harry Potter.
I'm sure they did. It's interesting that we're talking about Hogwarts and Harry Potter, and I was a huge fan, still am. I think I've read the book several times. In fact, I bought one of the editions in Dublin. Was I in Dublin? Or I was in Edinburgh. I was in Edinburgh when one of the books came out. So it doesn't quite fit my set, but that's okay, because I can say I was in Edinburgh when I bought that book. What's interesting about that book or that storyline and the parallel it takes to our conversation today is in my opinion, the whole series was about trusting yourself, right? And really getting in touch with that inner voice and paying attention to that inner guidance, and then letting that guide you. And, that's probably the best tool you can get for taking care of yourself, because when you're running a company and you have a team of people or teams of people reporting to you, you can be pulled in so many different directions that you kind of lose track of that voice. And it's all about the doing instead of really connecting into who you're being and honestly honoring that. Because if you're redlining all the time, then what's the point? You're just going to drive yourself down and end up having some kind of health issue that sets everything back.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm all about as well, is being proactive rather than reactive, because for a lot of people in business, especially entrepreneurs, they're all in and they think that everything they're doing is going to deliver the success that they want. And they're so focused on that they're quite happy to give all of their energy, time, attention, focus to those
Sacrifice.
business needs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's very easy to, as you say, lose track of yourself, not just in the health perspective, but actually in the business sense as well. So many people get so attached purely to the strategic goals and plan that they've got that they forget why they're doing that in the first place.
Yes. Yes. And it kind of can take you away, or maybe a more effective way of saying that is we can tell ourselves that we have to go here, we have to go there, we have to do this, we have to do that, and there's no time for us. I was actually coaching a client this morning. He's the CEO of a construction company, and he's always telling himself that he'll do that part later. I've been working with him now for 2 years. We've added revenue streams to his company that didn't exist before. We've shifted the mindset from poverty, scarcity, don't spend too much money. And all of that affects your health, right? Every bit of that thinking. We've worked with his team and we've developed KPIs and we've done so much strategy work. And I'm still working with him on this mindset that when it comes to self-care and fostering good energy, it's an add-on. It's still this thing that if he doesn't have time for it, it doesn't get done, and he just never seems to have time for it because that's a mindset. So a lot of this is a mindset, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I focus on the mindset. So I have 5 pillars that I work with in my framework, starting with the mindset that sits in the center. And then around the mindset, I have movement, nutrition, sleep, and stress. And the mindset is absolutely the foundation for everything, not just in health and wellness, but as you're talking about, anything that you want to do, change, achieve in your life, in any aspect of it. It does all start with the mindset. I'm sure you've come across so many people, especially women, who talk about wanting to lose weight and go on a diet. And they just think, okay, now I'm going to cut out chocolate and sweets and wine and whatever else it might be. And they throw themselves into it and they fail, or maybe they're a bit successful, but only a bit because it lasts a few weeks or a few months. And and it's because they haven't started from a place of why it matters to them, what it is they want to change and the difference that's going to make in their lives. So yeah, the mindset is so powerful as well. And that's something I've really learned through my own journey with mental and physical health challenges, which led me to where I am today, because the mindset, is just so powerful. And because of that, it actually can be really dangerous because, you control your mindset, so you have the power to tell yourself you are going to do something or you're not going to do something, and everything that goes with that.
Well, and yeah, absolutely. And, I think it comes, it's a pattern that can run really deep. And I'll use this guy that I was just talking about, poor guy, I'm talking about him, but as a really good example. So the mindset that says there isn't enough time. So, let's start breaking it down. It's like, there isn't enough time. I have all these people pulling on me. I have a lot of demands, great financial responsibility. We've worked really hard to get our customers. I have all these people to satisfy. So I just don't have enough time. And yet therein lies a whole scarcity mindset, that there's you can only do this, but there isn't time for this. And what ends up happening is you actually create it to be exactly that there isn't enough time.
Yeah. And that's the power of the mind, isn't it? It does what you tell it and talk and feed it with. And time is something that I really focus on and talk about a
Good.
lot, because that is something that so many people use as the reason why they can't change or can't achieve the things they want in their life. You know, and we all have the same number of minutes, seconds in the day. And yes, we all have very different things going on, you know, we're all at different stages of our lives and so on, but that time is there, and you know, it's down to you how you choose to spend that time. But you're right, the mindset is such a massive part in how you approach the time you have and what you
Yeah.
spend that time doing.
And how you value the activity. So for instance, for me, when I go to the gym at least every other day, and then on the day I don't go, I typically do about an 8 or 9 mile hike, because I like to be outdoors. And that really fills up my heart. Like, it makes me just feel super good. The interesting thing about that is I don't just do that when the work day is done. Sometimes I'll do those things in the middle of the day. And it's not that I've walked away from my business and being, say, foolhardy with my time, and I should be grinding it out. I'm actually come up with all sorts of solutions to all kinds of things that were kind of stuck, until I actually went to the gym and picked up the dumbbell or the barbell, or until I got out on the hiking trail and I can hear the birds chirping out of the trees over my head. You know, we're infinite beings, and we never really shut off, and except for maybe when we're sleeping, you know, but then some of us have super active minds when we're sleeping too. And it's really about making your wellness, your fitness, a lifestyle, and having that be part of your business model. So it's not an add-on to your calendar, it's a part of your business.
Yeah.
Because you can
And
be, right, you can be creating the next, you know, $1 million client while you're on the spin bike or in the weight room.
yeah, and that is absolutely the approach that I come at it with. So I really love that you're talking about that, Deborah, because I think we've been conditioned for a very long time, especially in Western culture, to work and live in a very particular way. And COVID, as horrific as, you know, the pandemic has been, has brought, for many of us, a rethink as to how, you know, we work and live, not just, you know, our work life, because of changes that came about, you know, for many of us with the
Sure.
workplace and so on. But we've really been conditioned to have, yeah, this approach of work is work, and there are those hours. And especially if you're in a corporate type environment or running your own business, you know, you have these core hours of like 8 till 5 or 6
I
or
know.
something, and that you just work. And that something like you say, going for a long hike or going to the gym, that's an indulgence, that's, you know, a
Right?
social type activity. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
you're
not,
not
and
being
as you say,
productive.
yeah, people, you know, I advocate moving your body every day. I'm a qualified personal trainer as well. And I talk about the power of moving your body, not just for your body, but for your mind, because especially people who are more creative, having that movement, and especially doing things outside whilst you're moving, is such an incredible tool for your brain, you know, to get into that creative state.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that to know that what you've created has taken on a life of its own. So when you're building a business, when you're developing a team, know that it does continue to move, even if you're not, you know, micromanaging it. and that by stepping back and taking care of you, it actually progresses. See, this is a mindset tweak hack, I suppose, that really is an important one, is that your business grows whether you're micromanaging it or not. Now, you don't want to stay away forever, but taking these little micro breaks and going for a workout and taking care of you, sometimes that's what the business needs for it to be able to do its thing without being white knuckled or micromanaged. And, same with having your team around you. When you step away and you go work out and you take care of yourself, that's inspiring to them too.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing. As a business owner with a team, you have a responsibility to help the people on your team live healthily. And, I talk a lot to corporates as well about workplace wellness and the impact it has on the culture, because a lot of businesses, again, on the back of COVID, are now very aware of having the right culture in place to support their teams and the workforce. And so leading by example as the business owner and leader is really important, because you want to instill the right habits in your team so they can be productive, because the healthier people are, the happier people are. And this is something which is proven now. There's a lot of scientific research and a lot of I'm sure you've seen a lot of coaches talking about this link now between health and happiness. And people who feel happier and more productive, they're going to be more in line with what the values of your company are and the goals, and wanting to be part of the team that delivers against them. So, creating that culture of one team comes from things like this, as a leader, demonstrating how to take care of and value yourself. And the value is something I talk about a lot, is helping people to know their self-worth, because so many people think, again, because of how we've been conditioned in our culture, that the harder you hammer things and the more you grind and hustle and burn the candle at both ends, the more that demonstrates you're a success, and that's a positive thing to let people see and think, oh, there's someone who works really hard, so they're obviously really successful. But actually that's not going to be as beneficial in the long run, definitely in the long run, to taking better care of yourself and having that respect for you, and knowing that you're really valuable, and that you need to support your overall well-being in much better ways.
Absolutely. And to realize that committing to some sort of a health routine is a form of self-love. And what that does is it to those around you, whether it's people that work with you, for you, or your clients, seeing that you're that committed and that dedicated, it says something about you. And
Absolutely.
then there's more chance then of having a more conscious environment that fosters emotional intelligence and let's say mental mastery over thoughts. You said to the point of where health and happiness are connected. I've been doing some research on alcohol consumption. I grew up in an alcoholic family. There was a lot of violence and abuse because of alcohol. And then all the things that go along with alcoholism, lying, mismanagement of money, not being present emotionally, lack of nurturing in the home. Like all of that toxicity is just this constant play out of one night of drinking, 4 or 5 times a month, or 2-3 times a week, or whatever the magnitude of the problem is. And so then that has an impact on everybody. And a lot of companies have this culture of let's go out and have some beers, and let's pound some shots, and and, celebrate our month end. And, then everybody's hungover the next day or days and just limping through till they do it all over again. And one of the things I realized is, hangovers are really a self-induced depression, because the self-talk is negative. It's just the food cravings are negative. Like, there's nothing positive about any of that. So health being the priority, imagine bonding with people in your workplace over health regimes or habits, or trading ideas about meal prep. Maybe it doesn't sound as sexy as going to the bar and getting a table and bottle service, but who defines sexy, really?
Yeah, and I think again though, that's something that we've created it to be that way. And I used to work at Nike. I was with the company for 20 years, and the company lived by the ethos of work hard, play hard. And we did have that kind of culture of very regular events as a team with alcohol and shots, and if you weren't partying hard, then there was something wrong. And at the same time though, we did do a lot of the other more beneficial type activities for your health. Obviously being a sports brand, we did a lot of sports type events, but other kinds of team building. And so I think they did have balance, but there was definitely kind of a belief that if you weren't one of the people drinking heavily and staying up late, that there was something wrong. And that was me. And I carried a lot of weight on my shoulders, worrying about the judgment of others, because I didn't want to do that. Sometimes, yeah, I'd have a drink, but I wasn't really one for staying up late and hammering it just because we were out on a work night out. But I think there is a balance to be had there. And I think the biggest message I would give a company thinking about that kind of thing is to give choice and to try to normalize it. And, when we talk about health, it doesn't always have to be the typical kind of things like doing some physical activity or talking about food. There's so many different ways. We've already touched a lot on the mindset, but the way that we talk to ourselves, treat ourselves, support ourselves, reward ourselves, all of that is part of your health and well-being. It's going to contribute to your overall quality of life and how happy you feel. So there's lots of different things you can do as a business leader to put things into place for your team. And I'd say, the best way to start is to ask the team what they want, because maybe they go along with the bar nights and the shots, but actually they'd be quite happy, doing a family get together barbecue type thing on a Friday tea time after work, for example.
Or paddle boarding.
Yeah.
I just learned how to paddle board over the weekend. Wow. Yeah, my first time. And I'm like, why haven't I been doing this all along? It's just so good.
That's really popular here as well, actually, because I'm right on the coast. And it's funny, because I was just talking about that on Sunday. I was at a walk at the beach, and I was saying to my partner, I can't believe how much paddleboarding and water sports, surfing, canoeing. Yeah, there's so many things now to what people traditionally think of when you think about sport and movement. Yeah.
I mean, anything, I always prescribe something outside. Go out of doors, and just, even if the weather's not good, just go out anyway. You can never go wrong. You're never going to say, after you work out or after you go for a nice walk or a hike, you're never going to say, gee, I shouldn't have done that. That was like, I shouldn't have gone to the gym, or I shouldn't have gone hiking. You're never going to say that. And the reason you're never going to say that is because you feel good. You just feel good.
And getting outside is so powerful. The way that we are designed as humans and how we've evolved, it was to be outside. Everything outdoors was what enabled us to live and be safe and be, fed, watered, healthy, part of a tribe and so on. And so, again, science has proven that that's the impact getting outdoors has on us still today, because we need that in our physiological, nature. So yeah, definitely anything outside, and not just with moving your body, but even getting some daylight as soon as you can after you wake on a morning. That's just a really simple little self-care hack. Even through a window, you don't have to go outside, but get daylight into
Yes.
your eyes and your body as soon as you can when you've woken.
So let's talk a little bit maybe about all the time we spend staring at our devices, because I really noticed that it has an impact on me. It's a very distinct, obvious impact, and it's particularly when we were doing all of the online meetings during 2020 and whatnot. I my body just, I felt like I was starting to shut down. What kind of advice can you give to people that really have a hard go of that?
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, I spend most of the day and evening on devices because my job is online, and that's the same for so many people. If you can, try to do some of your work whilst you're moving around. Even, it's often going to be very difficult to get away from the screen, but the way you use the screen is what you can try to switch up. So, taking a phone call, for example, do you really need to be on video, say it's a Zoom
Exactly.
meeting? Can you say, look, I'm going to do this meeting whilst I'm outside walking, so I'm not going to have the camera on. But you can still be as present and, as involved as what you would be if you sat like this at a desk staring at a screen. So look for ways to move during the day. If you are able to have a desk that lifts up and down, so that you can move from a
Sure.
seated position to a standing position, that's really good. But I would really think about everything that you need to do for your work and how to take regular breaks. And as we touched on when we were talking about exercise, and it not being something that is, a selfish act, and it's moving you away from your business and the goals you're trying to achieve, to use other things as well to help contribute to your business. So listening to a podcast or doing some reading, or even a 5 or 10 minute short meditation, or I prefer breath work type exercises
Yeah.
to the meditation. But how could you bring frequent little things like that into your working day to give you that release and relief from the screen, so that you can still be working, but you're also doing something that actually is much more beneficial for your
Giving
well-being,
to you instead of taking.
yeah, than just looking at the screen. So, think about what you need to deliver. And even if you just start with each day, just saying, like, what one thing could I do today to step away from the screen at some point, so that something I know is on my to-do list today, I can do it in a different way to just sitting looking at the screen. And yeah,
Sure.
it is really difficult overall, because the nature of the world now, and what many of the viewers, businesses are going to be operating like, you do need to be on screens. But it's looking at ways, especially, if you do have a team, how can you bring the team together in a way that isn't on the screen? If you're working remotely, that's more difficult than if you are together in one facility and you can connect together
Sure.
face to face in a room and take some time together to, communicate in person.
I think one beneficial tool is to get to know your point where you need a break.
Mm.
I always tell people at least at the 90-minute mark, set a little alarm, walk away from your desk. Obviously, if you're in the middle of a meeting or a big negotiation or something, you can't, but maybe you can try and schedule that so that it fits into that 90-minute window, and just get up and walk away. Go, and especially go outside and walk around your building. By the time even if you're in
Mm.
a high rise, you can take the elevator down, go outside, do a partial loop around the courtyard or something, depending on how big it is where you're at. If you're working from home, go walk around the block. But that 10 minutes will change your life, because it'll hit the reset button, and it'll give energy a chance to come into you. Because I feel when I'm on a screen, it's energy going out. And even often after I do my podcasts, sometimes I'm kind of drained. Like I need to go outside, go for a walk, do some deep breathing, and just kind of like get my vitality back. So, but you have to know yourself. You have to know what that limit is, so you don't go over that limit. I know some people that just sit in front of their screen for hours, and then they wonder why they don't feel well, or why their body's hurting, or they have a headache, or why their relationships aren't going well. You just it changes how you relate to the world when you lock yourself in front of a screen for hours. It really does.
Yeah, and one thing I would call out, which I know a lot of people don't even think about this, is they're sitting on a screen all day, like a desktop, you know, in an office type environment. And then when they finish, they go straight onto their phone. And it's usually the last thing they do before bed as well. They're on their phone. That's a screen.
And then they watch TV.
Yeah. And so have breaks, you know, think about the fact that you're probably doing most things in most days on a device, some kind of electric blue light emitting device. That blue light is so harmful for our body's natural rhythm. It really affects our sleep, not just the ability to get to sleep, but the quality of sleep that we have.
Yeah.
So, you know, just take a pause. And if you do go to pick up your phone when you finish on the desktop or laptop tonight, think, oh, this is a device. What can I do differently? That's, like you say, going to give something back to you to improve your well-being in a much, much better way than the pleasure you're going to get from scrolling on Instagram or LinkedIn.
It's true. It's true. One of the things I've started to do, it's probably been about maybe close to a year now, is I don't look at my phone after 8 p.m. If I'm, you know, I'm trying to get with somebody to confirm something, yeah. But otherwise I don't. And then when I go to bed, which is between 10 and 10:30, I shut my phone off completely. I power it down. So it's not on when I'm sleeping, and it's in another room. I typically will leave it in the kitchen, and then, you know, it's another part of the house. It's nowhere near me, and it's off. So I'm not engaged with it. One of the things I've implemented, which is pretty old school, but and I'm a huge advocate of this, and that is reading books. Get a real book with real pages and read for 20 minutes in bed before you go to sleep. And no one should ever have a television in their bedroom. So I am really firm on this. I did I was a couples coach for quite a few years, and there's a lot of marriages, I think, that were saved by telling them they had to get the TV out of their bedroom. Because, you know, laying in bed and watching a TV show is not bonding. You don't need to be bonding over a TV show. Bond over the life you're creating together. Bond over the relationship that you have with each other. Don't bond over some TV show that isn't even anywhere near your life. You know, it's made in a studio. Besides, there's only two things need to be going on in the bedroom, and one of them is sleeping, and the other one is not watching television.
I'm in absolute agreement there. I haven't had a television in my room for a very, very, very long time. And I don't have televisions in any of the bedrooms in my house. And it's just another thing, isn't it? That, again, you know, it's become a habit. It's like people just, you know, put the television on because they haven't got anything else to do, and they put the television on as soon as they go in the bedroom, even though they're not really wanting to watch something. It's like they just have to have it on. And this whole topic we're on is about, as we said, finding what you need. What is it that your being, you know, your mind, your body, your soul needs to be at its best, and doing that in what feels right for you and what flows. So not just doing it because it's habit, and we're all, you know, very much kind of habitually linked to electronic devices and anything that's got Wi-Fi on it and social media and so on, it is really valuable to assess what part that plays in your life right now, and how just changing a little bit, and I talk a lot about doing things with very small steps, that's what builds the habits and makes them stick and helps them to be sustainable. But just what can you start to change little by little? Because as you've alluded to, reading in bed with a book is so relaxing and beneficial to you, your brain, telling it that this is part of your bedtime routine, helping you to unwind. But you still, you're probably learning something if it's non-fiction, maybe just getting a bit of pleasure if it's fiction. But yeah, that's just something that, if you can put them type of habits in place, I think you would have quite an enormous impact on how you feel each day.
Yeah, and they're simple to do. That's what I like is,
Yeah.
is simplicity, doesn't cost anything, and makes you feel better and helps you revive yourself. And especially getting outdoors, because the energy, get into nature, and not just the vitamin D from the sunlight, but the negative ions from the vegetation. I mean, it just regenerates and recharges you, and especially your brain, So
Yeah.
I think too, drinking a lot of water throughout the day. The more you're on the screen, the more water you need, because your brain is water, mostly water. So
yeah, I've got mine here. I drink
yeah,
so much water, and that's another little tip that I would suggest when we're talking about people in the workplace and how much they're throwing themselves into the work and not necessarily taking care of themselves is, find little ways to get water regularly through your day, because that has such an impact on your productivity, because your brain, it's water. We need water to be able to function in the right way. And, just small things like that, when we're talking about improving health and well-being, seem really simple, but it's amazing how many people don't fill up their glass, don't have a water bottle next to them, probably get up a couple of times a day, one of them being when they need that caffeine fix at like 3-4 p.m. So
or
many
grabbing a
people
soda,
really,
or
don't, because it's,
yeah,
and that's the kind of thing that when you work with a coach, you can start to look at why do you do that, and it would probably come down to the fact that you're feeling tired and sluggish and your energy levels dipped. But instead of the soda, have 5 minutes with some daylight on your skin and
some
breathing
fresh
that
air,
fresh air
some
in. Yeah,
breathing. Yeah,
having a nice cold water, or doing a few star jumps and squats just to get your blood pumping again and reinvigorate yourself. So yeah, it's a lot of what we are doing is trying to change the habit, not necessarily change the reason why that habit's there. So, the cue is that you're tired and you need something to pick you up, and the rewards, you want to feel better. But rather than the soda or the coffee, what could you do instead that's going to have a more beneficial impact on your health?
better
You're
choice.
still responding to that cue of being tired, and you're still going to get the reward, because you will start to feel a bit more energized and wake yourself up. But you just do it in a different way to the way that you've done, because that's what your brain knows and picks out of its filing cabinet and chooses to do for simplicity.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get the outcome that you want without the negativity or the toxicity. Yeah. So tell me what how people can reach you. What's your website?
Yeah, so the website is lifenow.uk, and I'm on Instagram mainly. That's where I do like to hang out the most. So you can connect with me on there and send me a DM. It's lifenow_coaching. I'm also on LinkedIn as Life Now and Nicola Mercer, same on Facebook. So I'm on all the main platforms, but do prefer Instagram. I like the story features and just showing a lot of my real life and trying to show exactly what we're talking about, Deborah, that it's just very small, simple things that can be implemented without a lot of time, cost, effort. It's just tweaking small things once you know why you want to change.
Yes, absolutely. And so do you have something that people can download? Is there what if some way of accessing some of your tools to give them a go?
Yeah, definitely. I have two tools that I think would be really helpful. One I've just actually launched yesterday, which is called Win Your Worth. And it's a completely free 5-day challenge that you sign up for. And on each of the 5 days, you'll get an email drop into your inbox and a workbook. So you get a bit of coaching, bit of kind of questions and reflection and thought to do. And it's all about realizing why you are valuable and why you should build your self-worth to take better care of yourself, because that's often the barrier for people becoming healthier. You know, they think, well, I just am the way I am, I can't change, and you know, I'm not someone who's able to do that. So I really want people to understand how worthy they are and, you know, everything they've got in their life. And the other one that I have is a guide on how to start making time. So great for what we've been talking about. It's got some really easy tips on how to just make those small little tweaks in your day to have time to begin implementing some healthier habits.
I love it. That's fantastic. And give me your URL one more time so that they can get it.
Yeah, it's lifenow.uk. So really simple.
Yeah, thank you so much. So lifenow.uk, Nicola Mercer from the coast in England. So happy to have you on my show. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to having you back again, and we can dig into a few more of those pillars. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Thanks, Deborah.
Yeah.
It's been great chatting. Yeah, and I hope you feel better soon.
Oh, I will. I just think, you know, I've been traveling a lot, a little road weary.
Plenty of water and fresh air.
Yes. I'm gonna go for a hike a little bit later. That'll feel good. So remember, everybody, stay aligned, stay awake, and stay alert. Welcome back. I'll see you soon.